Elite Facts presents
35 random facts about Pompeii.
35.
Pompeii was an ancient city in southern Italy. The remains of the settlement are located near Naples.
34.
Pompeii was built at the foot of the volcano Mount Vesuvius.
33.
Pompeii predates Roman rule, and historians think it was a settlement built by the Oscan civilization.
32.
It was controlled by the Samnites around the 6th century BC and became a Roman city in about 80 BC.
31.
The city grew over the years, and the original wooden buildings were slowly replaced with brick and stone.
30.
Pompeii was developing into a flourishing city port. It was a prosperous resort for numerous wealthy visitors, and it contained many Roman villas, an amphitheater, 2 theaters, and several temples.
29.
In 62 AD, a severe earthquake did a significant amount of damage to Pompeii's buildings, and it took several years to rebuild the city after all the damage. Many of the residents relocated to other Roman cities.
28.
Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. The eruption buried the city under volcanic ashes and exposed the city's 20,000 inhabitants to blasts of hot air with temperatures of up to 250 degrees Celsius. It was hot enough to kill even those people who were sheltering inside stone buildings.
27.
A Roman writer witnessed the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, and his uncle, Pliny the Elder, lost his life trying to rescue the people of Pompeii.
26.
Volcanic ash completely covered the city and preserved the buildings.
25.
People had forgotten that Pompeii even existed, and it lay buried under the ground for hundreds of years. In 1748, the excavation of Pompeii began, and archaeologists are still working on the site to this day.
24.
In 1863, Giuseppe Fiorelli realized that some of the voids and gaps in the layers of ash were left by decomposed bodies, and so he pumped plaster into the holes and produced accurate casts of the people of Pompeii.
23.
The eruption of Mount Vesuvius was quite sudden, and many of Pompeii's inhabitants lost their lives while going about their daily work.
22.
Pompeii was not the only city to be covered by volcanic ash from the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Herculaneum and Stabae may not be as famous, but the ash preserved them too.
21.
Buildings in Pompeii that were uncovered by archaeologists were in good condition, and many of the walls were still covered with frescoes. Hundreds of well-preserved artifacts were also found.
20.
Pompeii is now a tourist attraction. It's a World Heritage Site, and it attracts more than 2 million visitors every year.
19.
Herculaneum was an ancient Roman town located near Naples in southern Italy. It was named after the Greek hero Hercules, and today it is a World Heritage Site.
18.
The settlement was founded by the Greeks around 600 BC, and because of its strategic location near the Bay of Naples, the town became an important trading center.
17.
The residents of Herculaneum were probably quite wealthy, as indicated by the design of the buildings and the archaeological discoveries. At its height, around 20,000 people lived in the city.
60.
Nearby Mount Vesuvius erupted on August 24th in 79 AD, and the people of the city did not think the volcano was a serious threat, as it had not erupted for about 800 years.
50.
When Mount Vesuvius began to erupt, Herculaneum was evacuated. It had long been thought that all of the inhabitants managed to escape, but more than 300 bodies have since been discovered, huddled together on the beach and in the arches of buildings.
14.
The people were killed by the intense heat generated by the volcano's eruption, and the temperatures were so high, about 500 degrees Celsius, that the inhabitants of Herculaneum were killed very quickly, even if they were sheltering in buildings.
13.
Buildings in Herculaneum were buried from the ground up by ash and several flows of boiling mud. Many of the upper floors of these buildings are still intact and have beautiful mosaics and frescoes.
12.
The eruptions of Mount Vesuvius were the first to be documented. Pliny the Younger described the eruptions in letters, and today scientists use the word Plinian to describe a volcano erupting.
11.
The excavations at Herculaneum were the first to be carried out by Spanish archaeologists in 1738. When nearby Pompeii was discovered, the excavations were halted and then began again in the 20th century.
10,
Herculaneum had bathhouses for men and women, a gymnasium, and a temple. Visitors today can even see the remains of an ancient Roman.
9,
Mount Vesuvius is one of the most well-known volcanoes in the world. It's located in Italy on the Gulf of Naples, about 9 miles from the city of Naples.
8,
Mount Vesuvius is about 4,190 feet high and measures about 30 miles around its base. Geologists estimate it to be about 17,000 years old.
7,
Mount Vesuvius is the only volcano on the European mainland that has erupted during the last century, and it is still active. It has erupted over 50 times during the last 2,000 years.
6,
The last eruption occurred in 1944 during the height of the Second World War, destroying U.S. bomber planes stationed a few kilometers away. Considering it's been more than 70 years since the eruption, there could potentially be another one at any time soon.
5,
Over 3 million people live in the immediate area of Mount Vesuvius, and many people live dangerously close to it.
4,
Mount Vesuvius's most famous eruption occurred in 79 AD, and it erupted continuously for almost a day, killing thousands of people and completely burying the nearby cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum.
3,
Archaeologists have found many well-preserved items in and around Pompeii over the years, including heating stoves, eye patches, cooking utensils, and goblets, as well as the remains of dogs and cats.
2,
The Mount Vesuvius volcano was made into a national park in 1995. Visitors can climb the mountain and walk to within 200 yards of the summit, where sulfuric smoke can be seen coming out of the crater.
1,
Mount Vesuvius is actually a volcano within a volcano, known as a stratovolcano, and it's because of its conical shape. The two distinct cones are separated by a 3-mile-long valley.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more elite facts.